Greetings to our listeners. Please click subscribe button to see more content like this. Today we will tell about the gruesome torture and murder of a Japanese schoolgirl. A murder of Junko Furuta has been called the worst case of crimes against children in Japan. Junko Furuta was born in the Misato region of Japan in 1971. She lived with her parents and two siblings. She was a high school student and worked in a plastic factory after school. She was saving money to pay for her university tuition in the future. She was very successful in school and was remembered fondly by her friends. She had a normal life until some monsters would change her life. On November 25, 1988, on the day, two friends named Miyano Hiroshi and Minato Nobuharu were planning to attack a woman and to rape her. They didn't have a specific target. Meanwhile, Furuta was riding her bike, returning home after work. Miyano told Minato to kick her off the bike. Minato kicked the girl, making her fall. Furuta ran away, after which Miyano came to the girl, pretending to offer help. He said that he had witnessed the incident and that he could help her and that they could go to her house and call the police. Furuta accepted this seemingly innocent offer. He took her to a nearby warehouse where the first attack was going to take place. Then he forced her to a hotel room where the attacks continued. Afterwards, Miyano invited his friends. Among these friends was Minato. Two other attackers, Joe Ogura and Yasushi Watanabe, were among the attackers. Ogura told Miyano that they should keep the girl there, otherwise she would report everything to the police. This group, or rather the gang, had committed a similar crime before and had released their victim. They knew their victim's home address and were threatening her. After the attacks in the hotel, the four monsters took the girl to a house in Adaki. The attacks continued there. 2 days had passed. On November 27, Furuta's family reported to the police that their daughter was missing. While the investigation was continuing, the gang told Furuta to call her family and tell them that she ran away from home. They knew that the police were looking for her, and after this call, the police would stop the search operation. The house where they kept Furuta belonged to Minato's family. Furuta was forced to act like his girlfriend whenever his family visited the house. Minato and his family had connections with the Yakuza, the Japanese mafia. Furuta had to do whatever he said. They kept her in that house for 40 days, sexually assaulting and torturing her. They sometimes forced her to sleep in the cold on the balcony. They burned most parts of her body, and after a while, her wounds became so severe that she could not even walk to the toilet downstairs. On January 14, 1989, after losing a board game, Miyato started to lose his temper and attacked Furuta. Later, the group joined him and started kicking and attacking the girl. The attacks were so severe that the poor girl could not stand it any longer and lost consciousness. The attackers did not stop. They did not pity her at all. They continued to burn her. The attack lasted for about 2 hours continuously. Then they tried to wake her up and bring her to her senses. But unfortunately, Junko Furuta could not withstand this attack and lost her life. 24 hours later, they started their attempts to dispose of her dead body. Minato's brother was going to help them. They put Furuta's body in a bag, then put the bag in a can and sealed it in cement. On January 23, the gang was captured upon the tip of a 19-year-old girl whom they had previously abducted. Her underwear was found during the crime scene investigation. Later, one of the assailants told the police about the murder of Junko Furuta. It is thought to be Ogura. The police were astonished by this confession. He told them where they could find the dead body. He even confessed that they killed another woman and her 7-year-old son, but this case has still not been investigated to this date. A police officer found Furuta's body the following day. She was identified with the help of her fingerprint. During the court proceeding, all suspects were tried as children because they were all under the age of 18. First, their identities were not disclosed to the media, but they were soon exposed as a result of the efforts of journalists. All 4 defendants were tried for committing bodily injury that resulted in death, rather than murder. In July 1990, the court sentenced Miyano, who was called the leader of the gang, to 17 years in prison. Later, his prison sentence was increased to 20 years. Miyano went out of prison in 2009 and changed its name. 4 years later, he was caught again for fraud, but he escaped without a prison sentence, according to people familiar with him. After he was released from prison, Miyano started to drive luxury cars and attend luxury parties. His mafia connections helped him to make a living. Minato was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but his sentence was later increased to 9 years. He was 16 years old when Furuta was attacked. Minato's older brother, who was complicit in the crime, did not receive any punishment. Even though the house where the crime took place belonged to his family, Minato's parents said they were unaware of the crime. Seems this was just an excuse. Minato left prison in the following years. There are no records of him being employed anywhere. In 2018, he was arrested again for beating a 32-year-old man to death. He is currently in prison. Watanabe was sentenced to 7 years in prison. He was 17 years old when he committed the murder. It is unknown what happened to him after he was released from prison. Jolo Gora spent 8 years in prison. He was released in August 1999, but was jailed again for an assault in 2004 and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Then he was released from prison again. According to some rumors, his mother destroyed Furuta's grave for allegedly spoiling her son's life. The sentences that Furuta's killers received dismayed the entire Japan, as most people believed that the perpetrators had to be executed. The assailants were spared because they were under the age of 18, but the crimes they committed were monstrous. Furuta's funeral took place on April 12, 1989. One of Furuta's friends said the following words in her memorial address: "Jen Chang, welcome back to us. I could never have imagined seeing you like this. You must have suffered a lot. We printed t-shirts in your name. You liked the colors. We will never forget you. The school principal even prepared your graduation certificate. We will all graduate together just like we dreamed. No more pain. No more pain. Rest in peace." The sentences received by Furuta's murderers were indeed ridiculous given the severity and inhumanity of their crime. At the same time, the fact that they continue to commit crimes and harm people after being released from prison proves that the court ruling was wrong.